Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Dudes with Attitudes. Every week I say this, and every week I feel sillier and sillier referring to myself as a comic dude. Yet here we are. Almost 1 year ago to the day, we released our first episode. And I thought it would be fun, and Matt thought it would be fun to revisit that first conversation for a couple of reasons. One, if you go back and listen to that episode, boy, have we come a long way in terms of the content of the podcast itself and the format in which we do it. So that's better. But also, a lot's changed in the landscape in terms of paper comics and digital comics. And I know we touched on a lot of different facets of this in our very first episode, but the landscape has changed a little bit. If you remember, the first time we had this conversation about a year ago, it was right after the changeover from Comixology.com to being a hub within Amazon. So we've had a year with that now, as well as a few other things that have happened that we've talked about on the podcast. You know, DC, Infinite, Ultra, some changes to, you know, how quickly you can get digital comics via subscription services. So yeah, maybe some opinions have changed. Maybe they haven't. Let's get into it.
Well, where do you want to start? I feel like Comixology, we could start there, man. Okay. I don't know if we just want to talk about Comixology just because, like, I don't know. I listened to that episode actually earlier today. And
I knew you would, and I didn't listen to it for that very same reason.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, we've been recording for a year. I don't know if I had a more passion take than that take about Comixology. Like, I was legit pissed when everything changed over.
Very raw.
And it was very raw. And I still, like, kind of feel that way. I guess for me, just where I'm kind of at in life, like, you know, a year removed from that episode is I'm really like trying to we have a second kid on the way, and I'm really trying to downsize a lot, not just like paper, clothes, everything. Like, just it's just too much stuff for me. And I've noticed when I've gotten rid of stuff, I feel better about myself. So that definitely extends to my comic book collection.
Okay.
I'm really only keeping things around that like really mean something to me. I'm not buying as much at the stores. Like, I've really cut my pull list down. I mean, I was like, I think at the time of the recording of that episode, I was a $200-300 pull list guy. Like,
what? Like a month?
I mean, so even if I didn't have it on my pull list, I was definitely like a 120 guy easily with that ridiculous discount I was getting, like easily a 120
That's insane.
guy. Plus, but and why I say a $200 a month guy was like I would buy the random hardcover or something, you know, that was like 50 or 60 bucks. So I'm like, that's how I was probably getting up to like $200 a month. So I was like a 120 guy at that point. I mean, I'm like a $60 guy now. Like, I've really cut back.
You know, you sound like.
I don't know who I sound like.
Me.
Yeah, like
you're saying almost the exact same stuff I said a year ago about buying paper.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally just like the weight. I came down here one day and I'm just like, why do I have all this stuff? And we can talk about, I mean, it'll come up maybe in a different conversation about there's some stuff like, for example, one thing I'm really having difficulty parting with is like those Green Lantern hardcovers I got of the Jeff Johns run that I absolutely love. Like, it's all digitally. I'll probably read it digitally, but like, why do I have these? It's because I have like an emotional attachment. So like that kind of stuff, I've kind of like set off to a side and I've accepted like that's something, you know, whatever. But I'm really trying to minimize like things I'm bringing into the house compared to the stuff that's, you know, kind of going out. But regardless,
all right,
I'm doing a lot more reading digitally. I've been over the year, I've been on the Humble Bundle a lot. Anything that kind of interests me, I don't feel bad buying Humble Bundles because it goes to a charity. So even if there's 2 or 3 trades in a bundle, I don't feel bad buying it because it's going to a charity and it's going to be cheaper than me buying something anyway. Um, I have kind of turned the corner a little bit recently, like probably within the past month. I'm starting to use the guided view a little bit more on Comixology, and I am starting to enjoy it a little bit more like you. The
I was
scans
gonna
on
say,
Comics,
who you sound like right
yeah,
now. You're
yeah.
still me.
The Comixology scans are just like we talked about. It was like that HD quality, and it's like
Yeah.
you can't beat that. Like the Humble Bundle is good, but you're a you're a slave to whatever they put up. I can't just go get Spawn every month. Like that's something
I
that
really don't. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish the thought. Sorry.
no, that's just like that's something that I mean, I don't love necessarily supporting Amazon, but it's the only way that I can really read digitally. I mean, I could sail the seven seas and do it. Sure, I could do that, but I don't really want to do that. So I don't mind waiting a month after an issue comes out. It's going to be $1 cheaper if
So,
it's like an Image or Boom
but
title. And
before
same
you go, let's not go right into Comixology stuff yet because you
Okay.
said a lot of stuff, and I want to
All right.
respond to some of that. One, I think
Reply.
Humble Bundle is bullshit.
Okay.
I
Why?
love that it goes to charity. I think that's great, but that is a terrible way, in my opinion, to get digital comics. You get this like it's not even curated. First of all, you get like a sampling of books from a publisher. You get very rarely do you get a complete series or even a complete thought. There are bundles that are just like number one issues of things or the first few issues of things. You get PDF scans that you need a separate app to read. If you're going to read them on a tablet or something, you've got to like
I read on my
backdoor,
computer. I read on
but
my
not everyone
computer.
does that.
I know, but for me,
I
it
like
works.
for me, Humble Bundle isn't even a consideration when we're talking about paper versus digital. That is something else entirely. That is if you're feeling like you want to make a charitable donation, you can do so while getting something that you kind of like. But I think Humble Bundle is, in terms of collecting digital comics, I think it's garbage.
I would disagree because like I've got to
I
a
know you
certain
do.
extent because like I've gotten all 9 volumes of Saga up until that point were in one bundle. So like there's definitely hodgepodge bundles.
But
I agree to a
that's
certain
the
extent.
exception. You getting all of Saga in one Humble Bundle is the exception, not the rule. They've already started to reuse bundles now. I've seen they've done the Rebellion, like the 2000 AD bundles with random Judge Dredd stuff and other UK sci-fi things that Rebellion publishes. They've done that multiple times in the last year. It's just it ain't it, man.
It doesn't work for you, but like I also got all of Walking Dead in a Humble Bundle. So like I don't know.
It's
For
I
you that
think it's
might not
just
be
I think it's bullshit.
for you that might not be a viable strategy, but for other people it might be.
So
Especially
I'm
if
not
you're
talking about
PC.
I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about other people.
All right, that is
I'm not worried
bullshit
about
for you,
them.
but for me
That's
it
what
works.
yeah, I know. That's what I just said.
All right, man. Sweet.
We're off to a contentious start.
That's what you want. It's a new year. It's been a year.
so now it's my fault. Okay. All right.
No, what was your other point, or was it just like you didn't like the Humble Bundle?
So when it comes to paper, I mean I definitely am in agreement where it can get to be too much, and you have to start to really choose what you're gonna collect. But I'm sort of there's a little bit of talking out of the both sides of my mouth with this because I'm also hunting through dollar bins for 90s Image comics and Valiant comics like it's my second job. So it's hard to while I'm trying to curate a collection, I'm also bringing in volume in terms of what I'm collecting. But
how often do you do that though?
it depends
Like
on the mood.
right? Like you might have one weekend when you go nuts and you get 20, 30 books or whatever. You get a good
True.
deal. But like I'm talking about myself. I was bludgeoning myself for like 50 titles a month, like clockwork. That wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, Matt comes to Texas.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to buy
I'm with you
40
there.
books.
Like, yeah, don't
like,
do that.
No,
Yeah.
like when you're killing yourself, like,
especially when it's new comics because that stuff
it's full price.
well, and it's not difficult to find,
No,
and it's not relatively collectible
you're about to say good,
worth anything or good. You're right, especially if it's coming from Marvel or DC.
And I feel like some of the stuff you're collecting, especially like you can't get that digitally. Like you can't easily
You can get
access
some of it, yeah, but most of it is difficult to find digitally.
Yeah, so
yes.
like current stuff, you just wait. And like, I don't know. I'm just that'll be a topic for a later show, but just waiting. Like wait. It'll be there. And that's what I'm just trying to, really learn and teach myself. Like if you really want it, wait, it'll be there. Video game, same thing. It'll be there.
Sure,
So
sure. I still let's let's talk comicsology before I
okay.
I bring
You
home
go.
my point because I think
Go.
you're not gonna like it.
Okay.
Speaking of not liking things, comicsology, the entire user experience is just a hot steaming pile of shit. It sucks. It is so bad. It's been a year, and you can't sort things alphabetically when you search. Searching on the comicsology store within Amazon is a futile experience because you cannot find things. It is not they all they did was take comic books and stuff them into a little box labeled Kindle. And you know what? Maybe all the old people that buy books for their Kindle don't mind that you can't have the modern conveniences of sorting alphabetically or even finding things in a normal human order like you would in a back issue bin. That doesn't work for comic collectors, at least not this one. I understand that a lot of people that buy Kindle books, and I'm going after the Kindle users now, sorry. I understand that a lot of those people had to walk to school uphill both ways in the snow. But the world now is full of modern conveniences, and the fact that the biggest company in the damn world can't offer me a simple and intuitive way to shop for comics is not just a joke. It's unacceptable. And I have let my wallet speak. I don't buy on Comixology. I've made less than 10 purchases in the last year on Comixology. I've all but stopped buying digital comics, and it is 100% because of how bad the UX is on that site. Can't do it. The reading experience, the Kindle reader, garbage. It's absolute garbage. Because once again, all we did, and I talked about this, I remember vividly talking about this a year ago when all they did was, again, they took comic book and stuffed it into the box labeled Kindle. It's the same thing with the reader. It's bad. It's a bad experience. Trying to find things in my library, my options to filter are books I've read, books I've unread, books I've downloaded. I think there's one more. That's it. Those are the only options that I have to filter my collection. Everything I archived is back. They didn't undo
Is it
any of that.
really? Oh
Mm-hmm.
no.
It's all still there.
You know what? It is. I didn't even think of that. It
Yeah,
is.
they
Oh,
haven't
that's so
done it. They I know they made a statement like a month after that. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna make it better, and we
bad.
know we screwed up, but you haven't done anything."
And then they laid off half of their workforce, more
Right?
than
Yeah,
half of
you've
their
done nothing
workforce.
to make it better. Nothing at all. Now there are other places to buy digital comics, but they are few and far between. You can buy them from the Google Play Store.
Can you really? I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that. I did
You
not know
can.
that.
My friend Andy, that's how he reads Saga. He buys the single digital issues from the Google Play Store because he's an Android guy.
Oh, interesting.
And because of that, he has like, even though I think he reads on an iPad now, um, because he's an Android guy, like the Google Play Store is where all of his funds are at. Like if you put funds in your account, it's on that store, not on the Apple Store. So he's kind of forced into it that way because he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to deal with having to download the Comixology app and all that stuff. What he has is already way set up on his devices. So
No, that makes sense. So I don't know if you remember after my passion plea and rant, I said something along the lines of like, well, my whole thing was like, I was like, this is one of the most disgraceful things that I've ever seen,
yes,
you
I
know,
remember.
and I went on this whole rant, and then at the end of it, to inject a little optimism, I said, well, at the end of the day, they have to change this. Like it has to get better.
Mm.
And my
How'd that go?
co-host, my co-host simply said, no, they don't. Do you know who Jeff Bezos is? He makes $8 million an hour, Matt. They don't have to change anything. I was wrong. It's gotten worse. Like I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I've made some purchases on Comixology recently. The only way I can make purchases to maintain sanity is if you can like buy like the next 4 books in a run instead of individually buying every book. So like I will buy like Saga, 4 issues of Saga and 4 issues of Spawn. How come when it charges my credit card, it takes like 9 days to show up? It doesn't, billing doesn't work properly. Sometimes it goes on immediately. Sometimes it disappears. And if you're like OCD like me and like, you know, you really check your like account and your money, like
Mm-hmm.
you're like, well, did I get charged? Did I do something properly? Did I not do it right? Like, so I start freaking out. Like, I just don't understand. And that's on top of all of the other issues you've talked about with everything. Like, it's just I really, as someone who reads on the computer, and the Humble Bundle is garbage and data. I'm a computer guy and I read on the computer. I like my screen. The fact that they completely destroyed the web-based version of that, and I have to read it through the Kindle, which is absolute garbage for comics. Double page, can't see anything, squinting. I have this massive monitor and it looks like absolute trash when
Yeah,
it
you have to
worked
use
perfectly
guided view.
fine
That's
before.
the only way.
You have to.
You
You
have
have
to.
to. And it
Yeah.
doesn't. And guided view on the app is better. Guided view on the PC is so jarring. It just jumps around like.
Yeah.
So like I can't even read like their comics this way.
Nope. It's terrible.
It's
Thank
just.
God for DC Infinite Ultra.
Thank God for DC Infinite Ultra. So do you go ahead?
Unfortunately for me, there's one monthly comic that I read from DC, and it's Batman. So not a
Do you
huge
remember?
help.
Do you remember that conversation where somebody said, "Man, if they can get to like 1 month and $9 a month, I am all in." And we both like co-signed on it.
Mhm.
Hold that shot, dude. And that's like DC Ultra is the one I use probably the most. Not
Yeah.
probably, it is.
You know, Marvel's been real quiet since that move to 1 month. They haven't done anything.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I don't know. We're holding out hope. I really do hope that happens because I'll start reading more Marvel. But yeah, I don't know.
So my hope here, my hope and my dream would be that there's someone shows up in the digital comics space as a true competitor for Comixology. Someone with a good UI, with a good solid app that does all the things so well that Comixology did. I don't know where that can come from. It's not going to be Google because they don't care enough.
No.
It has to be someone
Passionate.
in the industry. Who'd you say?
No, someone passionate. Like that's what
Yeah.
Comixology, the original team, was, dude. It was like
Yeah.
a passionate.
You know, I would love to see like Skybound do something with digital comics, or you know, I'm trying to think of an objective third party that could mount some sort of resistance to what Amazon has done to Comixology, and I don't know where that can come from, unfortunately. But you know, the best thing for the consumer is to have more than one option. Competition breeds creativity, and Amazon has no reason to move a finger towards changing Comixology because there's no other option. Not realistically. They have the breadth and depth of selection that no one else has. It's a stranglehold. It is a true monopoly in the digital comic space that, for whatever reason, is allowed to continue. It's not good.
I wonder
However,
if
oh, go ahead. Sorry, I was
I
gonna
wonder if there's some
like
like
bring
licensing
it
thing.
home. So you go ahead.
No, you can bring it. I was just wondering if there's like some exclusive rights deal or something. I don't know why.
I don't know, but it's all. I mean, it's publisher specific, right? I mean,
Yeah.
these publishers are choosing to sell their comics on that digital marketplace. Maybe they had pre-existing exclusivity contracts. I don't know, but I still don't understand how. I don't understand how a monopoly like this is allowed to continue. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. However, what I do know is that I think in some capacity, my opinion here has changed a little bit in the last year. Driven largely by Comixology's ineptitude and Amazon's failure to make this experience better. I think a year ago I said digital is probably the best thing for me personally because of how I choose to read and interact and the type of collecting that I do. And I think I'm starting to shift a little bit, which I know probably sounds weird, but hear me out. If I want to support a publisher or a comic, um, I don't want that money to go through Amazon. So buying it in paper, even if I'm going to read it digitally later, for me, buying it in paper is the best option for letting my wallet speak. And I'm a big proponent of my wallet doing the talking. So even if I'm going to read Captain Marvel and Ghost Rider on the Marvel Unlimited app, I'm going to buy the paper comics. A lot of image stuff and independent comics, I'm just buying the paper comics now.
Okay, that's
Because I don't want to spend money on Comixology. I don't want my funds going through Amazon for this. I want some sort of competition in the space. So I think the best way to do that is for me to kind of refocus. Similar to you, I'm still going to buy things that I definitely want to have. I'm not just buying things to buy them. I'm going to be a little bit more strategic in the things that I purchase, but I think I need to keep putting my money into the paper comic. Because until this gets better, I don't want to risk losing the hobby, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably better, obviously, to pick up the paper anyway for the hobby. I've really
I
made
can't
like
believe you
a
didn't
heel.
kill me for that.
No, I've made
I thought for
no,
sure you'd come at me for switching it
no,
up.
I've really made a heel turn on Amazon. Like
Okay.
I was used to think Amazon was like the greatest thing ever, and like now, like stuff like this, like it's just
Yeah. No, I agree. I
it
agree.
just they just had to ruin one of my pastimes, hobbies that I really like, and now I'm like, no, f them. Like, it really is. That really is the inflection point for me. Like, I was like, oh, Amazon's
Yeah.
great, and in some ways, it's unavoidable, and you have to shop there, but I don't have to route as much money through Amazon that I used to. Absolutely not. Like, you have to vote with your wallet, like you said. So no, I'm not gonna kill you because like you're not even going. I mean, you're not even going all whole hog. You like it's not. You're doing what are you getting the massive verse and some Marvel. It's like whatever. It's
I'm buying
not.
a lot of stuff now, man. I'm
Are
buying
you
a lot of
okay?
image stuff.
All right, all
I'm
right.
buying a lot of stuff.
Well, good for you. Maybe I do need to kill you a little bit, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. But it's kind of sad that a year later, all the things that we were initially mad about that we were kind of hopeful would get addressed or fixed or at least softened a little bit. Some of those hard edges would maybe get softened up for us, and nothing has changed.
It's gotten worse.
In some ways, yeah, it's gotten worse. So Amazon, do better. I know you don't listen and you don't care. I'm screaming into the abyss, but Amazon, do better. Give me my digital comics back because I really do want to go all digital if I can, but not until this shit gets fixed and sorted out a little bit. You ready to hit some news?
It's time for the news.
Matt, because Dave doesn't really pay attention to this.
So I have a couple news items. I know you actually have a couple as
I
well
do.
too.
I came prepared this week.
Okay, so I'll just go kind of quick. The two that I had that are like whatever. Both Marvel and DC have like
Okay.
announced their kind of summer events. The DC one did indeed turn out to be that Night Terrors as reported on Newsarama. It's their July to August event. Joshua Williamson is the writer who's someone in the past that I've mentioned that I do enjoy his work.
Me too.
Howard Porter will be the artist on the core series, and they're going to do a bunch of like little 2-issue miniseries. It's pretty much the DC heroes are sucked into some nightmare realm and they have to face their greatest fears. I will probably wait for that to be on DC Infinite. That's not something that screams for me to go out and get that in a paper copy, but something I will definitely be checking out.
Man, that one kind of sucks for Batman, huh? He faces his greatest fears
That
every few months when Scarecrow comes back.
Exactly. And takes over the city, or Bane
Yeah.
takes it. Like there was a period Bane took over the city, the Joker took over the city, and the Scarecrow took over the city
Riddler,
within
Riddler
like
too.
the Riddler as well too. So
Penguin never has. When's Penguin get his shot?
I'm sure it's coming.
Can we get a Zaz Gotham takeover?
I'm
Mr.
sure we can get
Zaz?
them all. I'm sure we get all scarred up, slicing himself. I'm sure we can
Yeah.
get them all at some point.
Maybe. Man Bat, Clayface, give them all to me. They all got to get a shot.
City of Man.
Mr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze has probably done it before. I just don't know about it, I'm sure.
Right? I feel like he's had to have taken over the city.
Yeah,
I
has
don't
to
know.
have. There's no way he hasn't frozen Gotham at least once.
I think you're confusing that with Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie.
No.
Chill out.
That was not a good Arnie accent.
I wasn't really trying to do it. This
Okay.
the best Arnie accent. Just chill out, man. Okay, Marvel announced their event. A lot less information about that. It's called Contest of Chaos. If you look at the poster, it looks like chaos. I also think the Marvel editorial group is in chaos, so it's probably going to be bad, like most Marvel events are in the modern era. So it shows
to hear
everyone clashing, heroes, villains, whatever. Just throw it up in the air, whatever.
Okay. Can't wait for that one.
I want to do one more, and then I'll let you go. Did you see the extended gameplay of Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, the video game?
That's one of my topics to discuss. Yes, I saw it.
Proceed.
I can't think of a worse way to spend my time
Damn it,
than flying through the air as King Shark
Fortnite, dude.
with a machine gun, just mowing down random faceless, nameless enemies to level grind, to get new skins for guns and new character skins. That looks like the biggest pile of shit. I can't think of a dumber thing to do with the Suicide Squad than to make a games as a service game where every single character has a jetpack and a gun. What the hell are we doing?
Does it look like Fortnite? Like I watched it, I was like, this looks like Fortnite. Like
It definitely has some Fortnite elements to
Okay,
it in terms of
not
like the
because-
art direction.
good, bad, or different. I was just like, it looks,
I think it's bad.
that's
If I want to play Fortnite, I'll play Fortnite. Rocksteady does so good at making story-driven action games in the DC Comics universe. Why they would ever deviate to try to make some... This is going to be Avengers all over again, except even goofier because they gave everybody a gun.
Good point.
Like, did you see the gameplay? They're just like
I did.
swinging
I did.
around the city like
Everyone's-
Spider-Man, guns akimbo, like 2 handguns, machine guns, rocket. Like, what is going on? Make it make sense. The Justice League is now mind controlled. Quick, Harley, get your AK. Boomerang, here's your 245s and a jetpack. Have at it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
What is going on?
And you know what? They've already said the thing that all but ensures that not only will this game be a flop, but it will not be fun to play. They have said, we have new characters and new content planned already, and we plan on supporting this game for a very long time.
The roadmap.
Every single time I hear those words, I know that it's going to be a shit show.
Anthem.
Avengers.
The
Same thing with Avengers. Anthem is another great example.
So I'll just wait a couple of years. They'll drop all the content for free, and I'll play it for 20.
I still won't
bucks.
play it.
No,
No.
I won't play.
King Shark in a Hawaiian t-shirt, mowing down enemies, jumping around on a jetpack. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That I've never gone from so excited about a game to so completely disinterested this fast in my entire life. I can't imagine a worse gameplay reveal than what they showed. The only way that gets worse is if all of a sudden the game had turned into like a Mario Kart clone and they're just driving around little go-karts.
It kind of like Crackdown, like, but not good. Like you're jumping around like Crackdown.
Yeah, it
With
doesn't make
machine
any
gun-
sense.
Yeah, I don't know
It
what
doesn't.
happened.
Anyone that has read a comic book or watched a superhero movie knows that none of that action is how superheroes move or do things, except for very few like Spider-Man. just doesn't make sense, man. It's so goofy.
I just don't understand. Like Arkham Knights had so much promise, like too, just 30 frames a second. Oh my god, just I can't. I can't.
They-
Like what is like you said, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like what are we doing? It's not that hard.
Look at the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 years of game releases, and the games that are the most revered, that have been the most successful, that are the best games, none of them look like that. None. People don't want to play that anymore.
Play what, the linear based?
No,
linear
play
games?
play games as a
Wacky
service
games?
with
Yeah, no, it's
like
yeah.
I don't want to grind forever to get a new
No.
outfit for my King Shark in the Suicide Squad game.
The
No,
tide is definitely turning. The tide
stupid.
is definitely turning.
Sell me a season pass. No, not in this lifetime, buddy.
You can
not
only buy so
happening.
many season passes. Like I'm playing Call of Duty, I buy the season pass. You have Apex. Like I don't want that in every game. Like give me one game that I'll do that with, but I'm not doing that with every game. So they can monetize you and sell you skins. But we're off on an old man rant.
That's
What's-
not an
what's
old.
your-
It's not even an old man rant, dude. That's a culture rant.
Yeah,
The gaming community in general, not a fan of those types of things, those
Remember-
activities.
remember when we worked at the big box retailer? The old what was it? They were trying to sell you the online pass. You had to buy the thing would belly up so quick to cut off used games. The old online pass tits up.
Mm.
Hopefully this trend can reverse and we can go back to a little bit more normalcy with our games. Like, I don't know.
We'll see. I'm just so disappointed. I really wanted Suicide Squad
Yeah,
to
I
just
was
be a
too.
good linear co-op experience, and instead they gave me that. It's just
The only-
bad.
The only cool thing is it's got 4-player co-op, which it can just going to be kinetic, just out of control. People all over the place, just doing whatever. Wild.
Did
I
you
don't
also
know.
catch that they said you have to increase your gear tier level to unlock harder missions?
No, I did not catch that. The
Yeah,
old
it's so
Assassin's
goofy,
Creed-
man. Yeah,
The old
it's
Assassin's Creed,
stupid.
pay for the pass.
Stupid. Anyway, we could rant about this for some time now, but move on to my other news story.
Sure,
Let me ask you a question first. How much do you know about copyright law?
not a lot. If anything, I know.
So, when you own the copyright for something, that copyright protection lasts for 95 years.
95. Okay.
95 years. The copyright protection on Winnie the Pooh is up.
Yep, it sure is.
So he is now public domain, along with all
Yep.
of his friends. Which means anybody can make a Winnie the Pooh movie or show. Any content they want with Winnie the Pooh. It's fair game, which is why we just got a Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
You know who else is public domain now? Because
Superman
of
too.
copyright protection? Peter Pan. Peter
Okay.
Pan. Coming soon, Bambi. And Mickey Mouse. Disney is losing a lot of copyright protection. Their copyright protection period is up on a lot of their really, famous core owned characters. And within the next 5 years, Batman and Superman's are also going to be up. And I just cannot wait for the chaos that's about to ensue. Cannot wait.
Can that mean just like Boom Studios can make a Batman comic?
Yep.
In theory,
You can
Anyone
put Batman in anything you want. You can put Superman in anything you want. Public domain.
there's no way they can fight that. The company,
Nope.
like the
That's why anyone can put Thor in anything, because Thor is a public domain character. He's not a copyright. There's no copyright on Thor. There might be like some weird likeness rights, but no. Once the copyright protection is over, public domain. And I cannot
Interesting.
wait. Maybe I'll make a Superman movie. Maybe I'll make my own Superman movie.
yeah, maybe someone will make one right that I actually like. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just gonna make one where he gets killed.
of course,
and stays
of
dead.
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just thought it was fun. That was a fun little tidbit of
That is-
information.
That's interesting. I do remember hearing something about like Mickey Mice. Those are thing up in my cellar. Mickey Mouse is going to be public domain. I remember hearing something
Yep.
about that. So
I also love that the first thing anyone's doing with these is making horror movies.
or move like just grotesque.
Yeah, there's a
That-
planned Peter
I got
Pan
it.
horror movie. There's a planned Bambi horror movie. And the Bambi one is just going to be Bambi going and killing the hunter that killed his mom. Like that's all
Yeah.
that's going to be.
Yeah.
But good times, fun times ahead, as copyright protections expire.
Awesome.
All right. Oh, go ahead. You got more?
My other news topic was: did you see that the Ultimate Universe is coming back?
Oh, Jesus. Why? How? To what end?
Jonathan Hickman's writing it with Brian Hitch is drawing. So I don't know. They're doing a 5-issue miniseries, or 4-issue miniseries. Sorry, titled Ultimate Invasion. I think this is going to be the prelim to bring it back, but I don't know. Hickman was rumored after he got booted off of the X-Men that he was working on some project. Can't confirm this is that, but the Ultimate Universe appears to be coming back. So
I watched it die. I watched it all die, and the characters escape to 616. We all watched it happen. Don't do this. Marvel, don't do this.
you're better than this. Don't do
Also, I'll never read a Jonathan Hickman comic again in my life. He lost me on what he did with X-Men, I'm out forever. Forever.
Just so you know, I picked up a full catalog of Jonathan Hickman comics on the Humble Bundle. So if you ever need me to send those your way, I got you.
That honestly just further proves my point that Humble Bundle is bullshit. They're just shoveling out shit now.
Make sure you mark that explicit tag. You got a lot.
I always do because I can never remember if I drop an F-bomb or not, so I mark it explicit every time I upload an episode.
It's probably a wise decision.
You know how every year, like after the Super Bowl, like all the merch for the team that didn't win the Super Bowl gets sent to some poor country in Africa or South America or Central America or wherever.
Yeah.
Humble Bundle, including a bunch of Jonathan Hickman comics in it, is about the same concept as that.
But you'd be charging those people for those Super Bowl
Yeah,
Philadelphia Eagles hoodies.
still. The best analogy I could come up with on the spot, man. What do you want from me? They're not always going to be winners.
I don't know. It happens.
Let's move on. Let's talk about what we're reading and playing. I have a lot that I read, so I don't know how you want to tackle this. What I'm playing is unchanged from the previous week. It's Apex Legends. It's GTA 5. Those are the only two games that I've been playing in the last week.
I want to go really quick just because I want to
Okay.
get to hear what you're saying. So I'm playing Guardians of the Galaxy, still enjoying it.
How close are you to the end?
Not close. I didn't get to play that much yet.
Okay.
Work was kind of kicking my butt, so I think I'm on like chapter 6 now. I'm not like super far. I was on 5 last week, but
Okay.
not super far. What I read in the office today over break. Look at that variant.
I like that
Mighty
cover.
Morphin, right? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, TMNT. Not gonna harp on it. All I'm gonna say is in this issue, we get to find out what happens when you mix mutagen with the morphing grid. I'll leave it at that. And you might think that's a spoiler. What happens in this issue, there's a spoiler for you.
I'll pick up the trade of that one because I got all the Batman versus TMNT trades, so I'm collecting like all the TMNT stuff I buy and trade from my shelf. So I'll pick that up when it wraps.
Absolutely. I'm playing another game, but I don't really care. The other comic book that I've read that I really enjoyed this week, probably my number one pick.
Boo.
Superman number 1.
Boo.
Dave, Josh Williamson, Jamal Campbell. They've done it. Superman fans, I think Superman is in the best place he's been in a number of years, to be honest with you. So, which isn't saying much, but I think he's in a really good place now. So
the best place he was in was that whatever year the Death of Superman came out.
No, I knew you were gonna say that.
6 Feet Underground. The best place he's been.
All I'm gonna say is, you got DC Infinite. When it hits, just check it out. You don't have to tell me. Just check it out. Let me know what you think.
You know, okay, so I won't.
Check out the number one. Just check out the number one. See.
There's a 50% chance that I'll tell you if I check it out.
All right.
Because if I hate it, I'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah.
But if I liked
that's
it, I'll go to the grave with that little bit of knowledge.
I want to find out, like in your will, like you're a diehard Superman fan.
Can you imagine?
That'd be incredible. The greatest
dedication.
Yeah, he committed to the stick, dude. Committed to the
That's
shit.
the ultimate long game.
Yeah, dude. That would be incredible.
Leave you an expansive collection of Superman paper comics in my will. Like 13, 14 long boxes full of Superman. You just didn't know.
Is all this time you're talking about getting more comics and more comics? That's what it actually was. A full run of Superman. It's like that movie Glass Onion. Like you've been showing us clues the whole time. We never do.
All right, but in all seriousness, that's the first Dawn of DC book to come out, isn't it? After Action Comics was like the true first, but
I read some Action I didn't read the whole thing, but it's pretty good. Like the Dawn of DC. I don't know, man. We'll see. But here's the thing with DC: they're probably going to be good for like 2 years, and then it'll flame out, and it'll just be whatever. And then Batman will be good as it always is, but everything else will be whatever. So,
and then in 6 to 7 years, if we're still doing this podcast, we'll be talking about the next reboot.
Exactly. But I'm also playing Modern Warfare 2, but that's it. That's all I'm doing.
I do want to play the campaign for that, but I just haven't had the desire really to get into a shooter that's not Apex. Like I think about it sometimes, and then I just go, that's like a 10, 12-hour commitment, and I just don't have it in me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I played GTA 5 for like 5 hours on Sunday. Like I just...
Yeah, like I definitely want to play the campaign too, but I got so much stuff on PlayStation. Like I need to prioritize it, or it's not gonna happen.
I understand.
So that's all I got. What have you been reading? Playing?
Been reading a lot of stuff.
Okay.
This is not going to be in order of how I liked it, but I am going to save. There's one thing I got to save for last. I mentioned last week I read Nightwalker's #1 from Source Point Press. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Written by Cullen Bunn, and I really liked it. I read issue #2. I still really, really like it. I think it's a really good book. It's a really good horror book. It's a cool take on vampires. Some more crazy stuff happens in the second issue. I'm not going to go into it. If you like vampires and Cullen Bunn, you should probably pick this up. I also finished up the Bloodshot series from Valiant. That's going on. That's on a bi-monthly-ish schedule. #4 finally came out. 2 problems with that book. #1, I read #3 2 months ago, so I have no idea what happened. And because of that, brings me to my second point. It was a very unsatisfying wrap-up because I don't really know what happened prior, because I read #1 like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 6 months ago. I don't know.
This is my problem with the Massiveverse book. I'm buying them to support them, but like I can't. I got to read it. Dead Lucky's hit, but like Radiant Black, dude, it's like 2 months go by, and I'm like, I don't even remember like what happened. Like I have no idea.
The best part about my reading schedule, especially being mail order, because I'm not like a go to the comic shop once a week guy, I'm always a few issues behind. I always have 2 or 3 issues of Radiant Black to read, so
that makes
I'm
sense
good.
then. Because you're like, oh, dude, like just read it when it comes out, and I'm like, no, dude, it's like 2 months. Like I don't know.
It's my normal.
That makes sense.
It's my normal. So I can deal with it, but this one I couldn't deal with. I still think the art in this was incredible. And I think someday if I go back and read all 4 issues back to back, it'll probably be a pretty satisfying story, because the first 2 issues were really good that I remember. So it was a good series. I think with Exo Manowar starting next month or the month after that, I have no idea. I think I'll probably just wait until it's all out to read it. I'll just save it up. But yeah, I finished Bloodshot.
You don't know how
I read some more. Huh?
You don't know how much it just pained me. Like now that you're talking about Bloodshot, I'm like, I gotta check it out, but I gotta go to Amazon to look it up. Sorry.
Don't do it. You have to. You have no choice. You have to do it.
I have no choice.
You literally have no choice. It's a monopoly. I went back to DC versus Vampires. I read a couple more issues. It's still cool. There's this is not really a spoiler, but we're at a point now in the story where it's like all of these types of like the Marvel zombie stuff, and even if you read Injustice, there's a point where the quote unquote bad guys have quote unquote won, and there's like a small resistance left to fight them off. One of the cool things that's happened in DC versus Vampires is that there's no sunlight left on the planet Earth, and the heroes that are still alive and trying to fight against the vampires actually live in the City of Light, which is inside. Like they live in Kondar or Kondak or whatever, like wherever Black Adam is from, but it's like in a little bottle, like magic. It's cool. Like they have to like
Kandor.
Yeah.
Kandor. Kondak is like Kandor.
Yeah, whatever it's called. I'm not a DC guest. I don't know these things, but
No, Kandor's where Supergirl's from.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just
So is Kondak the city that?
no. You're right. Kondak is where
Okay.
Black Adam's from.
All right,
yeah.
so that's where they're at, but it's like shrunk down in like a little
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah.
Like the House of Mystery is dead, but there's another house that's like the House of Mystery that's still up, still functioning, and they're like torturing a vampire that they caught to try to like figure out what magic could maybe like reverse the vampiric curse. It's cool. There's cool stuff happening. They also Supergirl hasn't been turned yet, but she's just a regular girl now because there's no sun. So they're trying to figure out how to get her powered up artificially so she could clear all of the smoke and dust that's blocking the sun on the surface. It's cool, but they're doing cool stuff with it. Even though it got kind of corny in the middle, I'm still liking it.
I mean, that's what's gonna happen.
I also read another #1 this past week, another Image comic. It's called Torrent. It's from Mark Guggenheim. It's a superhero comic, but it has such an interesting twist. So I forget I think the superhero's name is Crackerjack. Let me look real quick. Yes. Her name is Crackerjack. Michelle Metcalf. And she's just like your standard like crime fighting superhero. She's got a husband and a son and a sort of sidekick, but not a sidekick that just sort of follows her around. That's like looks up to her and really wants to impress her and work with her. And then some stuff happens. Some bad stuff happens. It's not really her fault. But what we ultimately are getting, and this is why I think this is such a cool comic, or ultimately getting is a take on the Punisher origin story, but for a character that was already a superhero.
Okay.
So the event that created the Punisher, his family being murdered in front of him at the park, causes him to lose his shit, go vigilante, get revenge. We get a very similar inciting event for Crackerjack. And I'm really excited to see where they take this. She's already a superhero.
Interesting.
Yes. Very interesting.
That could get ugly.
Yes.
That's why you're interested.
That's why I'm interested. That's why I'm interested. So I'm really excited to see where that one goes. That was another #1 that I picked up over the last, I don't know, month or so. And the last thing that I started reading, I shouldn't say started reading, went back to. Are you ready for this?
It has to be. Yeah, I know it. I think I know what it is.
Go ahead, guess.
Is it Batman?
Yes. We went back to No Man's Land, baby. And I instantly regretted it. Instantly. I read
so many modern books. Like that's
no. That's not even why. That's sort of why. I read like 2 or 3. I picked up right where I left off, which it's been a while, so I had to actually go back a few pages. But I'm reading it in the Comixology app, so that was a challenge of itself, just trying to like go back a few pages and catch up.
You're so out of the loop. You're so out of the loop.
I'm not as far out as I thought. I did remember most of what was going on. So I got to the end of the issue that I was in the middle of that I'd stopped in. And then all of a sudden, smack dab in the middle, I guess it's not smack because it's like a 500 page collected edition. I'm like in the mid 100s right now. So what's that, like 25% of the way in? There's a Young Justice issue. And I don't know why this was. I know why, because DC did goofy stuff like this all the time. But the art in Young Justice was like some cartoony, like Scotty Young wannabe, like bright, colorful, youthful type of like exaggerated art. Does not fit the tone of No Man's Land. Gotham has been destroyed by an earthquake. Thousands and thousands of people have died. The United States government has disavowed the entire city and stranded the remaining citizens there, cut off access. Guards are stationed at bridges. They shoot to kill if you try to get into No Man's Land. And here comes Young Justice, like slapsticking their way into the story, like for no reason whatsoever, in this like exaggerated cartoony art style. It was so bad. I read.
Why don't you just skip it?
That's exactly what I did. I read one page of it and I was like, not doing this. The second page of this Young Justice story was Superboy, like overly sexualizing a drawing of like a robot or something, like a picture of a robot, like a female robot. And Robin wasn't paying attention because he was thinking about Batman and No Man's Land. So then Superboy says, okay, let's go there. Then they go there and get like a talking to from Batman, and Batman yells at Robin and tells him never to come back. It's so goofy.
So what was the point of that?
I have no idea. I don't even know why they did that. The only thing I can think of is that at the time, Young Justice sales were not good, so a crossover with Batman would boost some sales. Yes. Stick it as a No Man's Land crossover and people will buy it. One of those dirty 90s tactics, man.
That's so weird. Like,
yeah. But after I skipped through all that crap, we got back to what I liked about No Man's Land. That gritty post-earthquake life. Gangland territory type of stuff.
Are you sticking with it now, or?
You know, for as long as I can before I need another break. I mean, this No Man's Land is 4 volumes, 500 pages each.
So many trades.
That's not including Cataclysm, which was 500 pages, and then The Road to No Man's Land, which was 500 pages.
500 pages.
3,000 pages I've signed myself up for. And this is after I read Contagion, Legacy, and something else before Cataclysm.
You're kind of committed. Like, you're kind of committed.
By the time I'm done with No Man's Land, I will have read all of the 90s Batman, basically. I'll have read like 10 years worth of Batman.
Interesting.
I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier.
Year-ish?
Huh?
When did you start? Like a year?
Longer than that.
Okay.
Almost 2 years, I think.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't remember. And that doesn't count. I read like Nightfall and Night's End and all that stuff. Maybe 2 years before I started Contagion.
So you're getting 5 years in, 5 years to get to 10 years in 5. That's pretty good. Yeah. 2 times speed. It's pretty good.
And that's not everything, you know. There's some stuff that before Nightfall that didn't matter, and stuff in between that's just whatever. These are the main story beats for Batman of a decade. So I'm back in for as long as I can stomach it.
Back, dude. You had a big reading week.
Did a lot of reading. I told you last week. See, unlike you, I kept my commitment from last week's episode. I said I'd have more stuff to talk about in the reading section, and I did. You said you'll finish the Invincible show before our next episode, and I know you fucking didn't.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely not.
Not a man of your word. It's okay.
Happens. Hey, it is what it is, man. It is. I am what I am. I don't know.
I know. I knew it. I just wanted to call you out. I knew you had.
I was gonna finish the whole show before our next episode.
You did. I listened to it this morning, so.
I think I meant the next Invincible episode.
No,
whatever.
I don't think that's what you meant.
Oh, I could definitely totally.
You know what? Even if you did mean the next Invincible episode, I still don't think you're going to do it.
Yeah, probably not. But
see, it's a quitter's attitude. But I tell you who doesn't have a quitter's attitude. The two of us combined when it comes to this podcast. And this is the point of the episode where I ask all of you, our faithful watchers and listeners, to share us with a friend, a family member, some random person that you work with that talked about Batman one time that maybe they like comic books. I don't know. Help us out. Like it, comment, share, review it. I don't care. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. By the way, we have a TikTok. It's a very small reach TikTok, but we have one if you want to find us on TikTok. We post some stuff there from time to time. Our Twitters are in the description of this audio or video episode. If you want to follow us there, we'll follow you back. And until next week, my name is Dave.
And I'm Matt.
Take care of yourselves.
Peace.